one of the things I was struck by in reading the book is how personal it really is in a lot of ways. I mean, you tell a lot of personal stories about yourself, your own family, your own patients. Can you talk a little bit about sort of your decision to approach the book that way?
Yeah, I was there. It was partly because it was the reason why I ended up writing the book. I've been a surgeon now for a little over a decade, and it was obvious to me. I've been writing about some of these episodes from the very first. One of my first essays that I did for Slate magazine before I ever wrote for the New Yorker magazine was about a 23-year-old I was taking care of as a resident who died of a lymphoma. And I'd felt all along the way that we were not necessarily being terribly effective in serving people's needs as they faced the end of life. But I didn't quite know what to do about it. And then my father was diagnosed in the early 2000s with a brain tumor in his brainstem and spinal cord that was going to be incurable. We went through a series of decisions about surgery, about chemotherapy, about radiation, about hospice, and then he died in 2012. And navigating that pathway made me think much harder about what was really going on. It's worth pointing out here, I've got my mother in the audience who's come from Ohio, my in-laws who live here in Virginia, and they went through a lot of this with me as well. And I think the way I approach many problems that I tackle in my writing is just interview a lot of people. And the beautiful thing about getting to be a writer is you're allowed to pick up the phone and ask people, hey, can I come talk to you about stuff that, even as a doctor might seem a little weird? Like I'll call up former patients of mine and say, can I hear about your experience with aging and illness? The death of your mother? And they'd say, yes. I interviewed more than 200 patients and family members. I asked scores of geriatricians, oncologists, palliative specialists, ICU doctors, nursing home aides, hospice workers to let me follow them along and observe. And then as I gather that information, I become really interested in what I call the positive deviance. Whether it's in other subjects I've tackled or this one, it's, who are the people who seem to do this better than I do anyway? and what the heck are they doing? A little bit of detective work. And I found along the way that there were really recognizable, there was a recognizable craft to what people did, both as patients and families, and to and as clinicians, to better manage mortality than I'd seen and was doing, and that ended up influencing the care for my own father. And so it's this odd book where I'm discovering things, telling you about it, and then trying to practice at it myself. Let me try, I just learned about this. Let me try asking my dad about that. And then, you see what happens.